Very good morning. Welcome to Spotman's Business. I'm Anju Bariji. Yesterday is the 18th of May. It's a Thursday, definitely, as we are winding up the week. Well, hope you're doing great. It's quite a very cool morning. Yes, and there is not really any much congestion according to the observation. When I was coming, probably we should be expecting to, have something similar to that in our upcoming traffic reports. Well, it's yet another business day. Quite lots of conversations are coming up. And these are very amazing discussions which are rotating. That is around the business. And like I always tell you, it's your daily kickstart for the day. We give you the right information that is quite relevant for decision making and also implementation towards your organization. I'm Andrew Bariji, and definitely we are going to be driving the business this morning. But of course, before we get into any further discussions, don't forget to trade stocks. That is with Zabu, a platform with all techs which just made this trading experience much more easy and friendly. Now you simply just have to dial *292# where you will be available with quite lots of options where you can choose to buy government bonds and securities for just as little as 15,000 Ghana shillings. But you can still choose to invest more than that. But Zabu simply says start with 15,000 and life will be made much more easy. The market's open at 8:15 a.m. closing at 3:15 p.m. effective Monday up to Friday, except on the weekends and the public holidays when you can access these markets. But unless you have the rest of the days to capitalize and make quite some huge profits for yourself, something which is quite very relevant for you. And Zabu made it a reality. All you need is your mobile phone, whether a smartphone, whether not a smartphone, *292#. Well, Zabu says my money, my future. And all Texas East Africa, do something new. Well, now heading straight to our morning call today. Well, did you know that actually, according to the latest report, it shows that more women are employed into the financial sector as compared to men. Most especially, yes, if you to look at majority of these institutions, it seems to be like women are more the largest sex that is employed there. Now, a report by the Uganda Bankers Association indicates that the banking sector is largely dominated by women employees. And now, of course, a shift which the report says has been supported, that is by years of affirmative action programs. And when we talk about affirmative action programs, well, we can see the involvement of women when it comes to attaining these programs, and they get the relevant skills, and they are so much open when it comes to learning new materials, new items. Now, the report which highlights notes that out of 19,000, that is 362 employees in the sector, about 52%, which translates into 9,984 are women compared to 9,378 or 48% who are men. Now, however, the picture changes a little. With the percentage makeup of women employees, we see that starting to reduce as the level of seniority increases. That is according to the report. Now, for instance, during 2022, the report indicates that whereas the middle management was nearly split between females and males, well, I lowered to 34% at executive director level, which was far lower than 66%. Well, yes, that is something for you there to think about. More women employed in the banking sector than men. Well, that is it for the morning call. And now let's cross over to take a look at what's happening. That's in the press, what's really making headlines out there. And of course, as always, I have the news right here. Okay, now I'm going to start with the new vision. And of course, here I will look at the standard gauge railway project. Of course, starts August. We see that Turkish firm contracted 150,000 jobs up for grabs. Yes, 150,000 jobs up in there. And of course, government also phases out absolute public jobs. And we see here 2,000 workers affected and low-ranked job qualification raised. Wow, this is something really to check out. And of course, quite many aspects here as we can take a look at the top page of the new vision. Well, now getting deep into this particular aspect, we see that government raises budget, that is to 52.7 trillion. The last time it was 51.9, now 52.7 So that is an extra trillion put there. Now, the Parliament yesterday failed to pass the national budget for 2023-2024, and we see that financial, that is after government presented, that is to the House a second coherent and budget estimate. So, I mean, we get to see that happening there, but of course we shall be getting to see what really comes out of that as a result of the updates that are coming out from there. Now, of course, here now the most story that is quite very eye-catching, which you really need to find out because, you know, it can affect anyone. Government phases out absolute jobs and 2,000 staff affected. Now, at least 2,000 public servants are likely to be laid off. That is as the government moves to eliminate absolute positions from the public structure. Now, of course, according to a look of things here, a document seen by the New Vision indicate that at least 24 positions, mainly at local government, we see that have been phased out. Now, the list seen by the New Vision includes positions that were eliminated, of course, long ago, but the job holders are still staff on the government payroll that is in the same positions. Well, something which is, you know, the employment. No, we've been seeing the global massive layoffs, and we did a report recently, of course, which were largely onto the tech side. But now, well, it's coming into the country, Uganda. How safe are you at your workplace? So that is something you need to, of course, to evaluate. Now, SGR construction, that's the standard gauge railway construction, kicks off in August to create, that is 150,000 jobs. And, well, that is something up for grabs for you, the people that are looking for employment. And I believe it's something that will be of great relevance to the well-being there. Of course, it was put on hold. I think that was about some time ago. Yes, it was put on hold so that the construction moves on to make it quite right and appropriate. Well, very good morning once again, and now I'm joined with Masi Katsume, of course, as we take you through what's really happening. Good morning, Masi. Welcome. How are you doing?
My morning is quite, you know, I had quite a very terrible morning, but I am here to give you the very best, regardless
of the morning.
Yes.
So what do we have on the top there on the daily monitor? What's really
today, the Director of Public Prosecutions is taking a final look to satisfy herself that identified gaps that police closed in additional investigations on 8 case files containing incriminating evidence to warrant arrests of the government notables and their arraignment in court.
Okay.
I think this we have the iron sheets, DPP to nail minor ministers. So we're still on the iron sheets. So I think they're going to nail more victims, of these ministers. I love the fact that we are taking this seriously.
Yeah,
anyway,
we ought to, because it's really one of the reasons why we are lacking absolute progress, despite the programs that are being put out there by government to ensure economic growth and prosperity. Now, Masi, there is something here. A government phase out absolute jobs, and 2,000 workers are going to be affected. And I mean, these are government workers, and according to here, we see that majority of them actually were already laid off. Officially, they're not supposed to be actually working those different positions, though they are still on the government employee. I mean payroll rather. So you see how, and you know, there has been a wave of job cuts across industries, most especially even to farms. We don't even expect to be cutting off people, and this is worrying, because if the wave is coming to our country, Uganda, in such a time, you know, 2,000 staff, and these are government workers. Yes. Everyone wants to work with government, right? You know, it's like how to get a government job, but now you see security is also becoming an issue. Job security, rather. So that is what is happening here, and well, still driving your business here on your daily kickstart, Smart Men's Business, and as we checking out what's really happening, that is in the press, what's really making headlines. Now here we see that Uganda's plastic policy, of course, polluting, of course, East Africa. You know, the plastic policy is polluting East Africa. Now, of course, a new report shows that plastic making industries have shifted from Uganda's neighbors. Have shifted from Uganda's neighbors that have strict plastic regulations, and of course, as a result, they are churning out more plastics than Uganda needs, which has resulted in cross-border smuggling. Of course, that's according to a report that comes out there. Plastics. The plastic policy is resulting. So probably there is need for a stable regulatory aspect when it comes to plastics, because at the end of the day, the strength of the policy or the weakness of the policy largely determines its impact it creates on the environment. Now, for this case, the policy is polluting. So in other words, there needs to be checks regarding plastics and how we need to handle them. And of course, that makes it quite very interesting here. Of course, we see here husband jailed over stealing wife's mobile money.
That is quite funny. I don't know. Maybe he had the password to the passcode to the phone.
Well, that is.
I mean, there are a couple. I don't think, was it stealing? Was it a business? Was it her business?
Yeah, of course. It says the 42-year-old has been sentenced to 18 months. That is 18 months in prison for stealing 7 million from his wife's. That is his wife's mobile money account. Well, it shows you how serious this economic crisis is taking us, reaching to these levels. Of course, it's not new. It's been happening, but now the only challenge is, the rampant increase of whatever is coming up. And now, still here, Father, we see government to revive cooperative bank. Of course, the government is set to revive the cooperative bank. State Minister for Industry, David Bahati, said regarding this aspect, and they explained that they have since discovered that some businesses cannot thrive while getting loans from commercial banks. Of course, like you hear, commercial banks, they're money oriented, and in most cases it's business. Banking is business, and as compared to the central bank rate, it will determine the rate at which the bank is going to give you a loan when it comes to paying back interest, and that makes it quite very complex for the people to work in there today. We have that on the Daily Monitor.
We are still Daily Monitor. Actually, I think today drills much more on the Angola shooting, and there was the arrest of the culprit.
Yeah.
And then we have also the Iron Sheet saga still going on. More ministers are yet to be caught. And we hope they will account for whatever case they were incriminated for.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, still here, as we still further drive here, we'll take a look at South Sudan, of course, thanking Uganda for support. Now, diplomats from South Sudan have commended the government and people of Uganda, that is for their hospitality, that is to the South Sudanese, who, when actually their country suffered bouts of insecurity. And of course, that is Ambassador of South Sudan to Uganda, Simon Joak Deng, said, of course, that besides South Sudan citizens residing, that is in different areas across Uganda, many of their descendants who came during colonial times are now Ugandans. So that is quite interesting. And more ties and relations when it comes to strengthening the East African community, when we have corporations establishing the friendship at the national level. Okay. Well, now let's take a look at what's happening around the traffic. And of course, that's the fairway traffic lights, as you can observe. Yes, like I said in the morning when I was starting the show, there doesn't seem to be quite lots of jam in town today. Actually, this week, I'll say. So now, according to the look of things, now that's the route coming in from Lago Roundabout. For the people that still come from Kamocha Connect, can still pass by there, and of course connecting straight to Yusuf Lule Road, coming towards Garden City. So you can take a look there. Of course, despite the fact that the vehicles are held for a short while, 3 to 5, sorry, there is not really a heavy, thick fleet of vehicles. So if you're coming from Lago and you're probably crossing towards Chibuli, to execute business and any other related activity, I guess it's a free lane for people to really cross there, and you will be able to do the business you ought to do in the right and appropriate time of doing it. So that is what we are saying there. The condition, the atmosphere is quite calm, the traffic atmosphere, and yes, despite this, we still see, we've not yet seen a traffic officer in control, but I believe it's the traffic officers controlling this jam. Of course, not so many borders as we take a look there. Yes, quite moderate movements there. And of course, still taking a look at the vehicles connecting straight to the Seziwa routes up, which connects to Nakasero. Well, it's always free, regardless of heavy, on the days when it's heavily congested, whether it's a light congestion, that place is always quite free. And of course, the reason being Nakasero is quite a corporate area, and well, it's not really residential. Many corporate organizations have actually their headquarters, their offices right there. So that is the look of things, the traffic atmosphere at the Fairway traffic light junction there. Of course, next to the golf course, if you can really relate, golf course, coming towards the golf course hotel. And yeah, of course, business still has to move on. That shows you how efficiently everything is moving. Now, of course, we see coming all the way from Wandegea, vehicles coming in from Wandegea connecting to Yusuf Lule, and they are heading towards Nile Avenue probably, and continue up to the Ginger Road traffic lights, and probably they're heading towards Chivuli. They're heading to areas like, some are heading to Weyogere, some are heading to Bugolobi. Yeah, quite so many destinations that really associated with that. And it's quite a free lane for any person that is heading there, so you will be able to reach in time. Yeah, the overall situation is very calm. A sunny morning like this, a very cool morning like this, and yeah.
I like the fact that lately we've not been having a lot of traffic, mostly in the morning hours. I don't know if Ugandans are relaxed on time for arriving to work, or maybe workplaces have are relaxed.
I could actually personally, I would attribute this to schools closing.
Oh yes, yes,
because I realized that in most cases, remember, some of the schools have children that cross the road, so and there are quite many. So when crossing, they have
to take their kids to school.
These parents have to take kids to school. Yeah, now that's the route coming in. That's the John Babiha Avenue, which connects all the way from Kandicha Street. People connecting from those areas, even Kamocha. Yes, you can still use the John Babiha Avenue to come and connect to the city center. And it's always, by the way, that route has a number of traffic lights. It's huge sets, and well, if you can see it moving this month, well, it shows you how very calm the situation is. There are quite lots of them. So if you're coming, in most cases on busy days, and you're really in a rush, it's not advisable to use the John Babiha route. If you're coming from areas that really link to this route, you better find better alternatives, because you will get frustrated. Because it makes it quite very hard for you to break through when it comes to timekeeping and management. So yes, that's how the situation is like. Well, of course, I'm seeing a huge fleet of vehicles coming in all the way, coming towards town, with the different people heading to execute the different businesses. But well, despite all this, it's a very calm situation, and not so many pedestrians, quite a few of them walking, heading to do the business. But that is the traffic atmosphere. And such a time, it's very, very, very essential. And the easier the movement, the easier the mobility of labor from one area to another, well, there is a way it includes when it comes to productivity rather. Yes, it's very, so that's what we are observing here, and it's very cool and calm. So if you are the kind of a person that probably today you feel like you need to execute something, I guess it's the right time for you to get out of your bed and come to town.
Andrew, speaking of traffic, today I had an incident, and it was quite terrible for me.
Terrible.
I mean, we've talked about cyclists, and yesterday when we had
Talk about the road safety.
road safety week,
Yeah.
we talked about cyclists, and we forgot to talk about some pedestrians. You know, today I got slipped off. You know, and you know why? Because the person who was crossing was, I don't know, you know, morning hours. You don't know why
Rush hours?
people. Yeah, no rush hours, but you know, the person crossing was. You know, I don't know, slow. I don't know. You know, you couldn't make the movement they were in. You know, they were, I don't know. Is it? I don't know where they were from. Whether from the bar or I do not know. But really,
Probably it's possible.
because So please, as you're crossing, I urge you to speed up. You know, look left or right. I know it's silly for mature people
to look left and right.
Yes, but it's really it has really helped us a lot, because you never know. You may look on the left, yet on the right something else is coming. So please take note and be careful.
Very careful. Well, yes, in there, be very careful. And that is what you need to really consider when you're moving on the road. Remember, it's your life, and you gotta be healthy and alive to be productive for the country. Well, now let's get into a short break. And when we return, we have something coming in from the East African community, and at the same time, the international blog, and all business related. Good morning.